I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi guys.
And today we'll be reviewing that cult classic B-movie, Teenagers from Outer Space, that was done in 1959.
Actually, it's been known by several names. It's marketed under the name of Teenagers from Outer Space, but it's also known as the Gargan Terror. That's UK title. The Boy from Outer Space, and originally titled The Ray Gun Terror. Ooh.
Yeah, and it was considered among, let me see, in my deep research I found out, along with Attack of the 50-Foot Woman
Ooh, this is cute.
and the Edward popular movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
That's a good movie.
Teens from Outer Space was practically the most popular B movie of that decade.
Actually, I've seen a lot of B movies, and I think this one, considering it's a B movie, considering it's a very, very, very low budget, considering the guy who, well, I'll go through a list of this. Produced by Tom Grafe. Production company, Tom Grafe Productions. Directed by Tom Grafe. Screenplay by Tom Grafe.
Need
Music
I say
by
more?
Tom Grafe. Now, he didn't actually make the music. He collected the music and put it in. The cinematography, so he's running the camera. Tom Grafe. Edited by Tom Grafe. And he acted in it as well. So who said you cannot do it all? No. So as a B movie, and he did all these things on a very, very limited budget.
Yeah, this movie had
So,
a very low budget.
Yeah, very low budget. For its time and our time,
Yeah.
really low. So we're basing our critique on the fact that it was a one-man show putting it together, warts and all. So we're going to grade it as a good B movie, not in comparison to anything else. Okay.
Right.
There you go. Just clarifying it for some of you people. So we're not going to troll over it because it's a B movie.
Okay,
No.
apart from the director, whom we know so far, who
This is Tom
stars
Grafe.
in this major film?
Oh, Tom Grafe's in it. Oh, sorry. Sorry. You mean the other people?
Yes,
Okay.
dummy.
Now, the lead alien guy is a guy called David Love. He plays the role of Derek. Now, David Love, I can't find anything online about him. Sarah's found a bit of information, but like it's mentioned later on. But it's not even a link to his name saying he became a vet or anything else. I mean, he got nothing. Anyway, now the lead female is a pretty little thing called, her name is Dawn Bender, and she plays Betty Morgan. Now, Sarah mentioned to me that somewhere on IBD, is it IBD?
Yeah, I am DB.
Whatever,
I think
IMDb,
it was.
whatever.
They made a mistake in their details saying that she died years later of alcohol poisoning.
Now, she's still alive and well, so I think someone made a mistake.
Yeah, or maybe they mistook it for Edward, who died of alcohol poisoning.
He certainly did. He died about 40, 45 or something, from
Yeah.
memory. Yeah, he went into a fit of depression, drank himself stupid and died. Poor man, everyone.
Yes.
I won't go into everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, the main ones are really, and obviously, Tom Grafe. Actually, he credited his name as Tom Locklear, whatever, Locklear. So I don't know if he actually changed his name, but he used it as an acting name, maybe. I don't know. So I won't go anybody else. But Sarah mentioned one guy, one of the spaceman guys. It was his film debut, was it?
Yeah, that was King
Moody?
Moody. That was his debut on for this film.
He did very well.
And
he looked like an alien and he talked like one.
And he went on to do some really good stuff here and there.
Did he? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he was in Get Smart. He played an
That's
agent.
right, he played an agent, that's
and
right.
that was years later.
No,
with
anyway,
Mel Brooks.
irrespective.
Irrespective.
Now, do you want to take over talking about it now?
Yeah, well, let's talk more about who else stars in this other than...
Well, I don't want to talk to anybody, but just only bit actors and stuff. You know.
Well, I just like to think...
Okay, Thor. Was that the guy who's chasing around?
Yeah.
Now, there's another... our guy, Derek, breaks away from the spaceship guys because he doesn't believe in what they're doing, which we'll explain later. And one of the other space guys spaceman guys goes looking for him. His name is... Brian Grant. He plays an alien by the name of Thor.
Don't mistake him for the movie, the superhero Thor. Either.
Nah, He's a wimpy one. Yeah, and
Well-
he's a wimpy Thor, not a big hammer throwing Thor. No, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to go into everybody else.
Okay.
Okay, you
Well-
can talk about Harvey Dunn as Grandpa, Morgan Witch's,
Yeah.
Benny Morgan's Grandpa and stuff.
Not to poke holes in the story. I often thought that the grandpa and some of the co-star characters, they played really good in this movie.
Well, they're fillers. You know, that's all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and-
the main actors were really Derek and
And as usual,
and
we're
Betty,
not gonna
so, yeah.
we're not gonna
Oh, maybe Thor.
we're gonna probably. I just want to point out to you guys, we're not gonna poke fun of this movie as we often discussed.
Yeah.
As I said to Mike earlier, we cannot label the dead about.
Libel, not label.
Libel the dead because it's not really nice, and it's not really nice to
And
the
the
still
movie's
living
not
actors.
that bad. Again, for what is, that's what I said earlier. We're going to base our critique on the fact that it was a very low budget B movie, but done the best they could of what they had. And
Yeah.
we will go into some of that when we talk about production.
Quite right.
Yeah. Okay, roll, take it away. Tell the story. Oh, you are chafing at the bit.
Okay, we start off with we fade in on two scientists in in one of those laboratory telescope
and
things.
they're astronomers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they just discover something out of the ordinary in the sky. Exactly, and
Maybe a spaceship.
and they think it's just a trick of the light and just ignore it. So
There's a light over Dr. Frankenstein's place. No, sorry.
so anyway, we then cut to the desert or a desert area, and we hear howling from a dog that's from probably a nearby town.
Sparky.
And anyway, we see a spaceship land.
We'll get on that later too.
Yeah, it looks a bit funny, the spaceship, but I'm not going to get into it.
It looks like a flying saucer to me.
Yes, and to Mike here, he thinks it's a teeny weeny spaceship.
Well, I mean, they didn't get the perspectives right. It looks like it's about 1 foot across, you know. Yeah, 400 mils. Not
Yeah,
very big.
so we won't get
They're
into
little
that.
tiny space critters.
Yeah, we get to the credits, and the credits float on above the spaceship that looks like it's as big as a. I don't know how big it is, because we do see the characters coming out of it, and it looks not very big.
For you people who watch Doctor Who,
Mm-hmm.
and the TARDIS is supposed to be a policeman's call box inside it's huge,
I
this
like to-
spaceship doesn't even rank.
Yes. So anyway, the dog approached it, barks, woof, 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 and one of the spacemen come out, and he's wearing a helmet, and you see him aim his gun
His
at
ray
the
gun,
at the dog
Yeah.
with a bright, and it shines a bright light at the dog, and the dog turns into
A pile of bones.
yeah,
The
literally.
flea bag turned into a bag of bones.
Yes. Soon enough, other spacemen
Excuse me.
join this guy. They start unloading stuff where
Scientific equipment.
where they're trying to check out the atmosphere or the atmos in
Yeah, the atmosphere, because
of the
yeah,
Earth.
they want to bring some little creatures down here to breed. I get the impression they're going to eat them later on once they get really big.
it's sort
Yeah.
of like harvesting, and
Well, yeah, they want to feed, they want to let them loose down there to eat the locals, and then come back later on when they all grown
Yeah.
up and eat them. And
Yeah.
isn't it funny how they all? It looks like a lobster.
yeah. Well, I think it was a
I
lobster.
love seafood.
In this, so I
Oh.
speak. So anyway, Derek notices on the dead creature the little license plate
Yeah, yeah,
from
his
the
tags, his tags, yeah, yeah.
and figures, oh, this belongs to a person who lives here, meaning intelligent
creatures.
life lives here. And he
Intelligent?
just
Well, not necessarily.
and he opposes his bosses and his colleagues that they should not load all these creatures onto their planet because it would not be fair.
What concern of this is that to us? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sort of
they
yeah.
kind of have this whole egotistical
Yeah,
idea.
we are the best of the best. Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Type
You know,
of
the best aliens in the whole universe. You know, yeah,
Yes. Anyway, they overpower Derek and they're about to take him back as a prisoner and possibly execute him.
Yeah, when he got him back home, little home planet, wherever that may be.
Yeah, they're not really.
Hey, they didn't actually mention what planet they came. Oh, they might have mentioned it, but it's obviously a made-up name. So
Yeah.
So we don't know where they actually come from.
Only their rules and regulations are a bit different from ours a little bit. Like they,
Yep, they're
Yeah.
all born in test tubes or petri dishes and stuff, and
Yeah.
they didn't know their mothers and fathers. That reminds me of some book I read. Was it 1980? No, it was 1984. What was it? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, a bit like
Space Above.
Logan's Run. They were born in petri dishes and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, they were. And in Space Above and Beyond, I think that was the movie. It
Could
doesn't
be.
matter.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, while these guys are planning out their next move, the captain goes downstairs to talk to the leader, and he discovers an interesting truth. But before we get to that, Derek eventually escapes, and he escapes Thor, who is another sort of space guy.
Actually, I'll just stop there just for a minute. I'm not being rude. The title of this movie is Teenagers from Outer Space.
Okay.
Now, the lead guy looks like a teenager, and Thor could probably pass as a teenager.
Yeah, the tough kind.
But the head guy,
Well, we can let it go at that, Mike.
he's a very, very old teenager.
We don't have to make them all teenagers. We could just
But I
leave
said teenagers from outer space.
Hey, they're probably just young cadets, just like you have captains.
Oh, they weren't
who are
talking about the
older
whole
than you.
crew. Okay.
Yes. So
Right,
anyway,
okay.
Derek runs away, and the captain stops Thor from shooting at him with the ray gun that could zap your skin off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, really good.
Yeah, and the captain tells Thor that Derek is the son of their leader of sorts, like a Darth Vader, whatever, sort of
Yeah.
thing. And Thor is
That's impossible!
Thor is a little annoyed because if they take him back to their planet, they'll be offering him, what was the word they used?
Clemency? Was it?
Clemency.
Yeah, he's going to go for a slap on the wrist. You know,
give him a slap over the wrist
yeah.
and let bygones be bygones.
I mean, if his father passed away, he could have been the new leader. Okay, can't be too rough on him.
Yeah, so anyway, the captain returns to the communications, and he tells him about how Derek has just run and left, and the leader says, go and look for him and send your best man to find him and explain to him the situation. And if he doesn't bother to talk to him,
Then shoot him.
and any people he comes in contact, he'll shoot them too.
Yeah.
Thor overhears all this, and he wants to be the
I will do that for you, boss.
Yeah, he wants to go and make sure Derek gets what he deserves.
I don't think he actually liked him in the beginning anyway. I think there's a bit of chemistry, like they hate each other.
I think they were meant to hate each other.
Yeah, I hate your guts. I hate yours. I don't know why, but it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, but I think he was more jealous of Thor, that Derek is going to be the son of the leader, and he thinks the idea of a traitor becoming the next leader would be just be plain horrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. What? He's going to be my boss? Don't think so.
Yeah. That'll be a one-up on him. So anyway, Derek soon arrives in the town, which is filmed in actual Los Angeles.
Now, actually, we won't talk about the production side just now too much, but there's a credit to Tom Grafe about the way he did his photography here. Of course, he did it in a city, but he made it look like a country town.
Yeah, it does.
If he's around today, I'd say, job well done.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
agree.
we'll talk about him later.
It does look like an ordinary country town,
It does, yeah.
not a busy
Big
Los
city,
Angeles
yeah.
country. I don't know what it was like back then.
No, yeah,
but
but
it
it's
was
like any small city, but the point is, we're not going to talk about it now. We're going to talk later.
True,
but
true.
the point, I'm just going to say that when he did it was actually done in the city. Yeah, there's a park there, but you take an angle the shot downwards towards some kids and the grass and trees. You don't see the buildings behind it.
Yeah.
You go to the local garage, a house next to it, but you don't. There might be a great big building next to it, but you don't see the building. Yeah, little things like that. See, it's very clever.
Yeah. Anyway, Derek goes and tries to find out where creature, the dog that's got shot, owner.
Sparky.
And as it turns out, he meets Betty, and her grandpa. They're living together and all that stuff.
Yeah, her parents died, and Gramps was looking after her and the brother.
Yeah, whom we never seen. Just so
yeah,
you know.
he moved away.
Yes.
And they had a spare room there. And guess what? They offered Derek a room.
Yeah, and
of no luggage.
And Betty's really taken in by Derek's
Yeah, of course.
cute appearance.
Hey, she's in for a shock. He's an
Yeah.
alien.
She's in for a bigger shock than that. Anyway, she kind of welcomes him warmly and even gives him some of her brother's clothes to wear when he's...
Yeah, but he only have his space guy's clothes, which is not like a jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting jumpsuit.
We'll talk about that later too.
Yes. So anyway, he gets offered an invitation of going with Betty to her friend's place to go for a
What
swim.
was her name?
What's her
Alice?
name? Alice.
Yeah, Alice, yeah. And she reminds me so much of Samantha out of Sex and the City. Yeah, same sort of personality, but a little bit over the top, but she was really cute.
Yes. Meanwhile, Thor is traipsing up behind him, and he gets a lift by some guy.
And Thor must be really intelligent because he learns to drive a car really quick.
Yeah, very. Yes.
What's this thing do? That's a gear shift.
Yeah.
What does it do? And what's that thing? That's a clutch.
Yeah, and
what's that?
And when they arrive at the gas station, the gas attendant who spotted Derek earlier tells him about his friend and says,
tell Thor about it.
And Thor acts all aggressive and...
What did you tell him? What did he tell you? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And of course, he pulls out his gun. Bam, bam. Both driver and gas attendant get
zappoed
by the gun.
Actually, just another aside here. That one of the props was I think it's called a single jointed skeleton. Now,
Yes, single jointed skeleton.
And they use it for every shot, for every ray
it's
gun.
actually, I found out, you and I were discussing whether or not they use more than one skeleton. And yes, it did say, I found out it was just one skeleton throughout the whole series.
Yes, every time they took a shot of somebody being zapped, they threw the same skeleton on the ground.
Yes.
Apart from the dog. The dog was not a human skeleton. There you go.
Yes, so anyway.
Just clarifying, there was two skeletons.
Yeah, soon enough, Derek and Betty arrive at her friend's place, and there he reveals the dog tag to Betty and tells her that it was someone killed the dog.
I found this on a creature.
Yes.
And so so Derek takes Betty to where the last reported sighting of Puppy was.
Yes.
And so that can't be him. He was alive this morning. That's just a bunch of old bones.
Yeah, and the dog bones, they look like they're cleaned of skin or anything.
Well, that's the ray gun does that. Anything which isn't hard, like bones and stuff, gets gone, finished. Yeah, Zeppo.
Yeah, skin, fur,
Please take that
or
in the
whatever.
garbage, folks. Yeah.
Yes, so anyway, they then decide to go to Professor Simpson.
Oh, whatever her name is.
And in order to probably give him the information that Derek may have to help.
Yeah. Of course, he's starting to explain to Betty that he is an alien and stuff.
Yeah, well, he has to go.
And she's starting to believe because she saw little puppy dog's bones on the ground there and stuff.
And he tells her about the focused disintegrating gun, which in short is the ray gun. Yes. Anyway, she figures that Derek came here, but got that he was betrayed by his comrades and wanted to disintegrate him, kill him.
Yeah. So then.
Yeah. Well, she's only half truth.
Well, you can't tell her everything. She would understand it. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, the creature they left behind in the movie, they kind of left it there to get the a lot of energy from the atmosphere.
The little creature can absorb nutrients out of the air, but once it gets into eating human beings and the like, it grows a lot faster. So at the moment, it's being controlled by very slow growth. Yeah.
Yes, so it's going really slow.
Yeah.
So anyway, of course we go back to Betty's house. She changes and they head to the college where Professor Sims is located.
Yep.
And of course,
victim number 3.
And Thor follows them and he kills Professor Simpson. And
he was a nice man.
And of course, Derek and Betty had to head to the probably a police station.
Something rather, yeah.
To try to get them all to safety. Of course, once Betty tells her grandfather that the man who's come by the house a couple times, Thor, is actually a murderer and stuff.
Grant was not overly worried, a little bit concerned, but
Yeah, but then this guy came by their house again, and he demands to know where they are, and hopes to probably killing Derek eventually.
Well, goes with the job.
Yeah, soon enough, they head over to them to the station. There's guns start going off at
Bang,
each
bang,
bang
bang, 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 bang.
Yes, and
That's sound effects, folks.
yeah, all through the scene, some of the men fall down flat on their ass as skeletons.
Yeah, same skeleton. Hey, that skeleton should have been in the credits, though. He was all over the place, wasn't he?
Oh man.
Skeleton supplied by Fred Smith, so yeah.
Yeah, just like Norman Bates.
Scientific supplies.
Just
yeah,
like Norman Bates' skeleton should have been in.
Mrs. Bates, she was a lovely creature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so
Norma.
shut up.
Sorry.
So anyway, they were able to shoot the guy, wound Thor for a bit.
Yeah,
and,
you got a hole in him.
Yeah, and of course, Tom's character, what's his name again?
Buglogs.
He plays
Something or other.
yeah, now I remember.
Joe Rogers.
Joe Rogers. He comes by, tells her the bad news that Alice got killed in the pool, yada yada yada. So he sort of plays a reporter in this, meaning he's got the skinny on.
He had a bit role.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
You know why, don't you?
Yeah.
Save paying another actor. Yeah, it was a limited budget.
Yeah, limited budget. I imagine he didn't have time to pay for another actor. So anyway, he heads off to look after Grandpa to get him across the road safely, while Derek and Betty try to find out where Thor went to. And guess what happens? She finds blood on the ground next to a car, and
And lo and behold,
Thor is in the car, and he's aiming the ray gun at both of them.
He was pussy.
And he says, "Give me the gun, Derek, slowly, or I'll hurt you, or hurt Betty, all that stuff."
Oh,
well,
yeah.
not really. He doesn't know her name, but he knows that Derek is really fond of her.
Yeah, he could pick up a bit of chemistry going in here, folks.
Yes, and Derek doesn't want her getting hurt.
No.
Yeah, so he told him to take him to a doctor or medical person to
remove this pellet.
Move the bullets from his shoulder. Of course, Derek doesn't think that's possible because in their country, their community in space, they don't really believe in helping when a person's dying. They kind of
Let them die.
Let them die.
Yeah,
Which
bugger that,
is
eh?
sad.
Oh.
But Betty knew a doctor.
That's a little bit like what's it called, isn't it? Logan's Run. Yeah. Certain age, die, go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Great retirement.
so they take him to the local doctor, and he looks just like Colonel Sanders from KFC a lot.
He didn't have that little goatee. He had white hair and glasses, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And a suit.
What does that tell you?
He looked like a doctor.
He looked like Colonel Sanders.
He didn't have an apron on. He didn't have a chicken under his arm. No.
So anyway, of course, they arrive there, and Thor demands the doctor to remove the bullets from his shoulder.
Yeah, and he said, "Oh, you need anesthetic." He said, "No anesthetic." He wanted to stay awake.
Yeah. Anyway.
What a brave man.
And then Thor tells the nasty truth to Derek. Dum dum dum. That Derek is the son of the leader.
You're the boss's son.
Yeah, and look at the shock on Derek's face.
Look at the shock, the face, the folks.
Yeah, well, he was shocked. Like, he didn't expect that to happen to him. To find out he was going to be the next to rule their people, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. I just certainly like the expressions that Derek does in this movie a lot.
Yeah.
Even if they don't have very many expressions.
They're very unemotional creatures, these people.
Yeah, so anyway, Derek is a little freaked out, and he does question why Thor was shooting at him, and Thor says that Derek's life was placed in his hands, and the traitor should not be ruling over them, and all that stuff. Also, he says
Works for me.
Yeah. And while he's under getting the bully out, he suddenly gets all queasy.
Yeah, he starts to get passed out a little bit.
Yeah. And of course, this gives Derek and Betty and the doctor a chance to escape.
Run, Forrest, run!
Yeah, they soon jump into Betty's car, and they head back to the police station in order to get away.
Then the doctor realises, oh, my nurse is due to attend the premises very shortly. I better phone her phone the premises there and warn her that she might find a patient there. And what
Yeah.
she does, she revives him, doesn't she?
Yeah, and
Whoops.
yeah,
Too late.
too late is right. Yeah, so enough. He asks her to drive her down to the back. Drive him back to the site.
Yeah, back to where the their little creature is and where he thought Derek and Betty were going.
Yes. So Derek is a little upset that Thor is still on the loose, and he feels like he'll never be free. At least that's what I think. And he feels that it's horrible that these gargan creatures are going to be living on this planet. He didn't know this at the time, but he found out from Thor that they're definitely going to be living on that place.
And eating.
Yes, because before Derek ran off, they found out that those creatures weren't really going so well, but then they start reviving
they kickstarted themselves a bit, and they were thriving. The first one anyway. They always bring a sample one down first, and then they're going to bring the other ones down later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he's doing quite well.
Yeah, and Derek knows
His mother would have been proud.
Yeah.
Oh,
So anyway, Derek is all upset that these creatures will grow small, but they'll grow bigger and bigger, and who knows how big? We don't know.
A lot bigger than we think, because this one was pretty big and hadn't eaten much.
Yeah. Anyway, Joe and a policeman, I think, they head down to the same site where the spacecraft was, and to find out more evidence about these unexplained incidents. And they soon run into Thor, and there was a bit of a car chase in the
Actually,
scene.
I was wondering about the car chase, whether they actually did it at the right speed or sped the camera up, because they were windy roads, and if this was a low-budget film, I thought, ooh.
Well, it might be. They may have speed up the footage. I
Yes,
think there was a scene where the nurse jumps out of the car, and it looked like it was done real, like
A bit
someone.
slower?
No, it looked like she really did it too fast.
Yeah, they might have sped up just to make it look good.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, these were windy roads, and I mean, yeah.
Very dangerous.
Workplace health and safety, folks. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, I do.
So anyway, Thor soon enough is, after all, being very queasy, and he can't control the car, so he ends up falling off the cliff. But he's not hurt or anything, or dead.
The car rolls down an embankment.
Yeah. He's not hurt or dead or anything. He's just injured, and of course the police capture him and take him back to the hospital.
Meanwhile,
Derek and Betty head back to the same site to
look for his ray gun.
Look for the ray gun, and there was a bit of a love moment there. Hello.
Yeah, laying down and looking at the stars.
And Derek kissing Betty.
Is that when he says, "I'm never going to leave here" or something?
Yeah, he says, "I shall make the earth my home, and I shall never leave it." And that was so beautiful and tender.
So romantic and so...
And this is where Betty finds out the full truth, that definitely Derek is not of this world. And knows a little bit more about Derek's world, where he came from.
Very cold, impersonal place.
Yeah.
People born in petri dishes, didn't know their mothers and fathers.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Been done before.
Yes, true.
Brave New World, I think that was another book. Yeah, I think Brave New World.
Yeah. So anyway, as the moon starts to rise out in the sky, just so you know, they didn't have any. The production didn't have enough money to pay for some special lighting for night scenes, so they had to shoot all the scenes, in the daylight.
Well, they might have done it in daylight. What they would do then, they turn the aperture down, made it make it a little bit darker.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like very what's the word?
That explains why.
Very resourceful.
It does explain a lot in some movies, Mike, that they would not film in real nighttime.
Yeah, they couldn't be. They didn't. It cost prohibitive sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Carry on.
Yes. So anyway,
Oh, excuse me.
so soon enough they find the ray gun, but before they could do that, they get a jump scare of the huge creature coming out of the
and we
darkness.
get a good look at him, don't we?
Yes.
He's a dirty, great big lobster.
Yes.
Yeah, I love lobster.
Yeah, just so you know, guys know, they couldn't. Another thing about this is that they couldn't afford to make an actual, big size, mold of the actual lobster creature.
So
They had to again use their intelligence to layer an actual lobster
probably
on
a
top
real
of
lobster or
footage.
something. Oh, yeah, it looks so cute.
Yeah,
It
so
did. Come on.
Yeah, so they had to empathize a lot. Even
That funny cry. I wonder who did that
Yeah.
noise.
I don't know. So anyway, they realized the gun is not working really
It
well.
was broken.
So they had jumped back into their car and run as fast as they can.
Drove.
Run, whatever. So anyway, Derek tries to fix the ray gun, but it's
There's a little part that's broken.
yeah, and then
Yes.
and
It must be a little power source thing. Like it looks like a little glass, little bead type thing, but that must be like a little nuclear power generator, I think. Yeah.
yeah, and just so you guys know, the ray gun is
Well, we're going to talk about the props later.
I know.
We want to keep that for a surprise.
No, it's not that. I was just gonna say this ray gun, it's sort of like if you power it. If you look at the high telephone wires, that's the type of
That bit, yeah.
that's the type of much electricity it
So,
requires.
yeah, and they got the generator turn on full and bypass everything to give the full charge. So that's a lot of current.
Yes.
Yeah. And it worked.
It did work, and it eventually did vaporize the creature and killed it.
It did. Yay!
Yes, I don't think it doesn't go into skeleton pieces.
No, it's too big. Maybe it could have made a big hole in him. Don't know.
Well, maybe it takes
Hey,
longer.
I know. It cooked him. It's ready. Your lobster is ready, sir. No?
Yes. So
Okay.
anyway, after they defeat this creature, eventually, we hear the spaceships from in the sky hinting that they're coming down with all the other stuff.
His guys went back to the home planet or wherever, or to the main fleet to say, okay, we're ready to bring the other guys down. And they were coming back as an advanced spaceship for the rest of the deliveries.
Yeah. So anyway, Derek heads back alone to the house to collect his gear, and all the time we hear the voiceover comments from what he hears from his captain, Betty, and all that stuff. Meaning he's formed a plan and worked it out.
Yeah, so he's going to go back home, so we think.
Yeah, soon enough he gets back into his uniform, and he and Joe head down to the police station.
Well, hospital, is it?
Or the hospital.
Yeah, that's where the other alien. That's where Thor was.
Thor and using the ray gun, even though it's not working anymore,
to bluff them.
To hand over the prisoner.
So he takes Thor back to the spaceship.
Yeah, Betty and Grandpa are waiting at the same site, and where Betty wants to see Derek for one last time. All that stuff. How romantic is that? Yes. So anyway, Betty is a little grieved that something's wrong or feels.
He said he was going to stay here and make the Earth his home, Grandpa.
Yeah. Well,
and guess what?
Yes.
He lied. No.
Yeah. So anyway, Derek and Joe soon arrive. I'll rephrase that. Derek and Joe and Thor arrive, and Thor's all, "Why are you wasting time? Shoot them!" All that stuff. And
no need. I'll be eaten soon.
Yes.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, soon enough, they approach the captain, who's after the ship lands, and says that that Derek is ready to take his punishment. And guess who arrives with the captain? His
Daddy.
Exactly. Derek's dad's arrived, and no doubt he's got a horrible beard to show for it.
It's speaking of horrible, it looks like it's a fake beard. And right at the beginning of the movie, when they had the two astronomers at the observatory, well, I'm sure the guy there had a fake beard on as well. Yeah. I mean, if you can't grow one, just leave it off. It just looks so...
Not going to say it. We promise not to troll this movie.
No, so the beards look so pathetic, they could just left them off. I wasn't being troll-like, I was saying it just didn't work. Yes. Anyway, carry on. Yes. Dad had a really bad beard. Okay.
Yeah. So Derek talks to his father and how his dad says you were brainwashed by that book that you had with you, and
come home with me, son, and we'll sort things out. Right. And you can help me find the other people like you, and blah blah.
And you can kick their butts.
Actually, that reminded me that had overtones of remember that Fahrenheit movie, whatever.
I never watched Fahrenheit.
It's
I mean, read the
Fahrenheit
book.
something 4 8 whatever. It had that was a temperature reading
Oh,
for
that one,
burning
yeah.
paper. Yeah. And they burnt all the books, and everyone had to watch TV, and everyone was manipulated. Here's what we want you to know. So they watch TV all the time, no books, and people like this guy Derek would steal a book and memorize it and become human books.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Hey, a bit like McCarthyism, someone told me, but I don't know that. I don't. And the German book burnings.
Yes. So anyway, back to this movie.
Carry on.
Derek wants to program to send messages to the other ships.
To bring them in, bring in the cargo ships of all the creatures. I will do it, Father, to show you I am a good fellow.
Yeah. So he gets
Boy,
in,
was he
and
wrong.
he locks the door securely, while the other guys keep yelling, "Why? Open the door! Open the door!" Yada yada yada.
Nah.
Yeah, and Derek is all the time programming the ships, telling them to ram their ships right into.
Well, he put he landing coordinates. He made them 0 impact or 0 location or below 0, which means they'd come in at full force.
Yeah, full speed.
Like they're going to be landing lower than the ground.
Yeah.
So they came in and they obviously didn't stop in time. They hit the ground and
and
good stock footage time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they crash and you see a lot of the weird static noise, and then a volcano
erupted.
No, well, it's actually, I think it just looks like
crevasse,
it's a huge crash.
Yeah,
or something.
a big crack in the ground with the steam coming out of it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a geyser type stuff. Around that
hinting
sort of thing.
that all the spaceships just landed in one heap of mess.
But they land on top of Derek.
Yeah, killing Derek
So
probably
he was right and wrong. He was going to not leave the planet Earth.
Don't say it, Mike. Don't joke about it.
He's now fertilizer. That's not joking. He was fertilizer. He was a crispy critter, and he was being ploughed over, and now they're growing some corn.
Yeah. So anyway, this happened, and of course, Betty's a little sad that Derek's gone, and she sees in the clouds a fade-in image of Derek, and the very words he said to her, "I should make the world my home, and I should never leave it."
And there's a zone. Fade to black. The end.
And the end.
Oh.
Yes, as I said.
And Betty went and got a new dog. No.
Well, we can only hope.
Well, Sparky was a bag of bones.
So I think earlier tonight I also found out that the director and our leading man, David Love, they were a couple.
A couple, yes. They were having a relationship.
Yes.
So that could be one of the reasons why we had David Love. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. He was a very good-looking guy. I think he's a creature of his time, low budget, and probably no worse than the other B movies. Yeah. Well, he looked good though. He looked good.
Agreed.
So for eye candy, it's a teen movie, so you need a good-looking young guy. He was. And a reasonably good-looking young female. There was at least 2. Her and Alice were reasonably attractive women.
Well, I did think Alice was kind of
cute,
pretty.
sexy. And she lost weight too. She became a skeleton, remember? Anyway, okay. But yeah, so they needed eye candy and the what's the word? Prim, proper, nice, naive sort of teenager sort of stuff. And she played a very good part, I think.
Agreed.
And obviously it was not period, it was contemporary for its time, so there wasn't any special costumes. Now, getting into costumes for the aliens.
Yeah, the alien costumes, they were trimmed.
Well, yeah, listen, they're ordinary flight, not like jumpsuits you get from army surplus.
Yeah, and they had masking tape for,
to make a V across the front of it, to make it look like it was different. Gee.
Yeah, and they kind of used, for their space boots, they used men dress shoes
ordinary leather
covered
shoes,
by socks.
A white sock on the outside.
Or whatever colour they used. It was black and white.
No, with a pale, it would have been a white sports sock or something or other, or a white casual sock over an ordinary black or brown shoe, an ordinary leather shoe, which it did look the part, but not on closer inspection. But again, limited budget, and necessity, the mother of invention and that sort of stuff. It was very creative.
Agreed.
They got the desired result by pretending things weren't quite right, but
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
another thing I found out is that the house where Betty and Grandpa live in, that house was actually owned by an old lady, and of course Tom asked her, "Would you mind if we filmed there for free?" And she obliged.
Isn't she nice? Now, hey, here's the part I really like: the ray gun. It was a real ray gun, as you could purchase in any toy store. And they only bought one. So when it got broke, it was broken. So it didn't work anymore.
Funny, huh?
And the space helmets, I think, were ordinary pilot's helmets or something or other.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I must have got from Army surplus or sort of thing. What else was there so weird about it?
This is another thing I found out. When they did the zap of visual effect from the ray gun toy, was accomplished by a mirror glued onto the nozzle and pointed at directly at the camera,
Oh, okay.
which was hit by
The light.
a deadly, light.
another
Maybe a
light.
flashlight, maybe.
Yeah,
something.
and then reflected back out. Oh, it's very good, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, a little makeup mirror on the front of the ray gun or something.
Yeah, a small one, maybe just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What a clever little thing. What a clever little sausage he was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, we've done that. The jumpsuits, the ray gun, the skeleton we mentioned was, I gave a single jointed skeleton which had multiple roles. So we used quite a bit on. I think 1, 2, 3. How many was it? 3 or 4?
I think there was
4.
6 people that got.
Six people got. The policeman too. Yeah, there are 6 guys and the same one skeleton. Not bad. He gets around. That guy.
Oh, don't forget the the monster.
Well, he wasn't a skeleton. I'm talking
No,
the skeleton.
but-
I'm talking about a skeleton.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so they had doubled up and tripled up and quadrupled up. Yeah, it was really good. What else did he do? I mean, it's always like I said, low budget but very creative. A few problems with it. Again, it was his first movie. His one and only movie, was it?
No, actually, I found out something that he made several other movies before
Before this one.
Teenagers from Outer Space.
Did he make them or assisted with them?
Directed, written, and maybe produced.
Okay.
Is pretty much.
Okay.
So he did one called "The Toast of Our Brother," and that was done in 1951, and Orange Coast College Story, which was done in 1954. Island Sunrise, that was done in 1954. The Noble Experiment, that was done in 1953. 55, sorry. And Not of This Earth, that was done in 1956.
Yeah, but he did the whole lot, or did he assist as director or something?
He did a bit of directing,
And a bit of
writing,
yeah,
and
okay.
producing.
But he didn't do the whole lot. This one.
And
yeah.
let me see.
Yeah.
And let me see. And let me see. What was it? Oh yeah, the Orange Coast one. That was actually, I think that was David Love's second movie he did.
Oh, did know? What did you find? I was looking for him. I couldn't find him on the computer. IMBD, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, and the last one is Teenagers from Outer Space. That was done in 1959, and the last one, The Wizard of Mars, done in 1964.
Was that director job? Was it or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Director's jobs, written jobs, produced jobs.
I haven't seen the other movies, but from what Sarah's saying before, that the best movie he's been involved with was Teenagers from Outer Space.
Yeah.
He made this other one a bit later on, or directed it anyway. And,
and even though Warner
he
Brothers
just dropped off the planet from the industry.
even though Warner Brothers never had any hand in developing it, but they still distribute it along with other movies.
I often do that. If you get a good movie, they'll take it on board.
Yeah.
Like Ed Wood, remember he said, if I make a movie, I'll take the distribution company, like Paramount or wherever, and say, hey, I have a movie here, and the guy sat down and laughed at it.
Yeah, they weren't really sensitive to the story.
To his movie, but you make a movie, you take it there, and they'll do the distribution for you.
Just so you guys know, Tom, he actually changed his name much later on, and He called himself Jesus Christ
No, he
2.
wanted to change
He
his
wanted to
name,
change
Jesus Christ II or something or other.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was going to leave that out. I mean, the guy has obviously had mental problems at one
Yeah,
stage.
I know, but
No, I think he went into major breakdown, and he had a few problems there. And unfortunately, yes, he was a little bit delusional, and I believe he committed suicide in his 40s or something or other.
yeah,
What a
horrible.
terrible waste.
Yeah,
Mm,
we weren't going to
yeah.
bring that up, but
You
because
just couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't help us.
There you go.
But it does make you wonder why that he couldn't develop more and more his skills after those 5 or 6 movies or 7 more
Yeah.
movies.
It is sad that people. I mean, it's a hard industry for the best of times anyway, and I mean, a bit like Ed Wood died in his 40s too. I think
Yeah.
40s or 50s, early 40s. Can't remember, mid 40s. Yeah, and he got into depression and alcoholism and stuff and different things. And I don't know if Ed Wood committed suicide, but his alcohol
I
and
think
stuff.
the alcohol just killed him.
Yeah. So it's a hard industry, folks, and it's really sad that people, go troppo eventually if they can out of frustration, I suppose. And it is sad that Tom Grafe took the way out. He could have. If this was an indication of what he could do when he's doing the whole
Yeah,
lot,
I mean, I've watched.
you think he could have done something
yeah,
better?
I've watched Plan 9 from Outer Space, and I always feel like there's a tiny bit, like there's something missing from it. Is what I'm thinking.
Why are we talking about Ed Wood?
I know. I just meant, unlike this movie, Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah,
I always had something missing from it.
Yeah, this was a good movie compared to Plan 9. This is the far better movie. Nothing against Ed Wood. I think Ed Wood was, in his own way, his own creative genius, lacked funding, so he couldn't bring his dreams to fruition.
Yeah.
But Tom Grafe, he had a limited budget on this as well, and he did pretty damn good.
Yeah, and the music score, which they
He
used,
borrowed the music.
which was free stock, whatever.
Yeah, public domain type thing.
It was later used for George Romero's Night of the Living Dead movie that was in 1968 at the time.
Ah.
Really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out where they got the idea of the monster from though. I couldn't find any notes on that have a lobster farm down the road or something. Or
I probably think that they used a lobster for it. I mean, they did say when they were doing the giant lobster, when they were layering it, that they used that particular small lobster throughout those scenes.
Did you get a credit?
No.
Fred the lobster should have got a credit.
But then again, they didn't have they didn't exactly give you very many credits to work from at the beginning.
No, at the end it could have. And the monster was played by Fred Lobster.
Quite right.
Well, that's how the dog, Sparky, was probably Rex the Wonder Dog or something or other. Why didn't the lobster get a mention?
I don't know.
Excuse me.
I like the dog could have been good to mention.
Sparky. He wasn't really zapped, guys. They're just a bundle of bones they made up for it. He's probably sitting down in the corner, laying under a tree, eating a bone. Yeah.
So, do you want to rate it down, Mike?
Okay. Now, what I said before, this is a B movie. I'm going to judge it as a good creative B movie in that genre. If you compared it to a big commercial one, obviously it's not the same race. But as a good B movie, I'm going to give it a 9. I reckon it's a good watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like a couple of things in it, but it was a basic, good storyline. It was for the acting, that period. Really, it's the first off for some of these people. It was pretty damn good.
I'm going to have to give it a 9 as well. 9 out of 10 too.
Very creative. Tom Grafe, I'm sad that you passed. Yeah, you took your life and everything, but he might have had some family. He might be listening to this, nephews, nieces, whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah, it's a shame. He could have been so much better.
Yeah. Or could have been.
Yeah,
He could have been
given the right chances.
Given the right, if given the right chances, he could have become just as good as George Romero.
Well,
maybe.
or
Maybe somewhere halfway.
you look at David Lynch, right? He did that Eraserhead movie, which I loathe. I've watched it several times. I cannot get my head around it. But he made so many good movies after that. I'm sure Tom Grafe could have had the same chance if given the right what's the word? Oh yeah, the right chances, introductions, right people, giving throwing money at projects. He could have done something like that. I mean, yeah, it is a shame. Anyway, why not get too morbid?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
So, thanks for watching this latest podcast,
Listening.
guys. Listening to this latest podcast.
You always say watching.
Anyway.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Thanks for listening to this latest podcast, guys. So, this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael Stephenson.
Saying, keep watching the skies. I'm kidding. I mean, keep listening to our podcast.
And that as well.
All right. See you around,
Bye,
guys.
guys.